Hello everybody, welcome to week 7 of XPDLA. This week my opponent is Tides, coach of the Compassion Chansey. He's got a pretty threatening team and he's like a relatively skilled coach, so got our work cut out for us. Hopefully we're trying to bounce back from our loss last week against Queen and the Mad Hatterines. I believe we're trying to get out of 500, yes sir. Week 1 lose, week 2 win, week 3 loss, week 4 a win, 5 was a win, and 6 was a loss. So if we can break that up and down streak, that would be pretty nice. So hopefully we can fight through our woes here. But we have to get through Tides first. So his team is really scary. Consists of Landorus, Therian, Rotomwash, Decidueye, Salazzle, Pangoro, Kecleon, Megascizor, Sylveon, Latias, Excelgor, and Manectric. So, that's a pretty scary team, but I do have a few win conditions for this game, starting with Nasty Plot Tornadus. So, his flying resists are few and far between. It's the Rotomwash, which I fully expect to come to this game because it is his only good Torn check, and the other is Manectric, which I could see coming to this game. Because if it's Scarfed, it outspeeds +1 Mew if I'm DD, and it also outruns Nasty Plot Torn. And it can outrun a few other things on my team if they have speed boosts up. So, if they have the potential to get speed boosts, like, I was thinking like I don't know what I was thinking, but there's other things like, yeah, Scarf Mamoswine it outruns, there's other things as well. So I just decided to pop this set in, because if I get like 40% off of the Rotom, if I get it down to like 60, a Nasty Plot boosted Hurricane with Sharp Beak is going to kill the Rotom, and Manectric doesn't want to switch in on Hurricane even unboosted, so yeah, I've got Heat Wave there. It's not really for coverage, it's mostly because if I in against the Megascizor and I don't have a Nasty Plot up, I just want to get something that's just going to really hurt that thing, so yeah, just Heat Wave on there. After Stealth Rock, I think is a guaranteed kill against like 90% of Megascizor sets. If he's got a bunch of Spadef. Like if he's fully Spadef, I think he lives after rocks. There's a chance anyway. But I'm not expecting a Spadef Scizor. I'm expecting more like max HP, a good bit of attack investment, some speed for Mawile and stuff like that. So speaking of Mawile, we got a Stealth Rock 3 attack set. This Mon has a good matchup. I don't know what else to really say. It's probably my best Stealth Rocker this game because Mamoswine's matchup isn't amazing. Like, it's completely doable. Like, I could bring it because it threatens Rock Polish Landorus. I wanted to run Scarf Latias. It's mostly the Scizor I'm afraid of, and I don't want to have to run HP Fire for this game. So I decided to not bother with Mamoswine this week. So I brought Rocks on this, dropped SD for it at the last minute. Or I think I actually dropped Knockoff for it. To be completely honest with you, I think this was just 4 attacks before. But yeah, this Mon just kind of goes in. The speed is... I genuinely couldn't tell you. I think there was some sort of creep I was doing for the Pangoro, or... I think it was actually outspeeding Max Speed Kecleon, so yeah, that's what I went with, I guess. This battle was a while ago, so yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It just gets up rocks and threatens the hell out of his team. Obviously, Fire Fang's there for the main switch in, which is going to be the Scizor. Player hits pretty much everything else. Salazzle I don't think is coming this week, but even if it switches in on a Player yeah, Quad Resist, but that's still a Salazzle, so it's not going to like taking that. And yeah. Up next we have Obstagoon, and this Mon goes crazy. So his bulk doesn't want to deal with this thing. With these 3 coverage moves, I hit pretty much everything super, super hard. The exception being nothing really. I guess a defensive Pangoro if he wants to run that, which it's not completely out of the question. But I don't really expect to see Pangoro this week because I have a Mawile and I have a Torn, and Mew gets Dazzling Gleam, so yeah. This Mon just kind of goes crazy. Parting Shot's good momentum. It helps if he wants to switch in, say, Rotom. I could potentially Parting Shot on that, maybe get some good damage off of Facade, if he wants to switch that in. Yeah. Up next we have a defensive Mew. This is my main Salazzle check, because my team's looking pretty vulnerable to Salazzle. Obviously Torn can offensively kill it, but otherwise my first 2 other Mons were kind of boned by it. Even with Sucker Punch, if it's boots, I think it lives from full from Mawile, and then you can obviously kill me with Fire Blast. So I wanted some insurance. I also wanted some insurance against a like an offensive, like a Life Orb, Roost 2 attacks, or Roost 3 attacks, Latias. So I decided to bring in a max HP Mew with Ice Beam. Psyshock's there for the Salazzle, and this just does a lot of work. Will-O-Wisp is there to help me obviously catch the Scizor, Lando, and the Pangoro, as well as the Decidueye potentially, and that's what Ice Beam is also there for. So I decided that this set was pretty good, and yeah. Up next we have this thing, Cofagrigus is what it's called. We got Mixed Defense. I think the Spadef is there to let me live a Specs Draco from full, from a Latias. This thing is a pretty nice check to Scizor. I wanted some insurance against that thing. Hex, I think, breaks its sub, but Haze lets me stop it from getting up SDs. I meant I don't think Hex breaks the sub unless I burn it. So Haze is there to help me if it SDs. I doubt he'll bring sub SD, but you never know. League format's crazy. Haze is also good for CM Lottie and SD Pangoro, Nasty Plot Salazzle, offensive. Like, there's a lot of setup on his team, basically. Pretty much everything except Excelgor and Manectric can set up. I don't think Kecleon can either, but if it's Trick Room offensive, I guess that's technically set up. And Manectric still gets, like, Charge Beam, and yeah, Excelgor doesn't get set up at all, but yeah, it's still kind of a threat, and this thing checks that too. So yeah, T-Spikes are good, and then Hex Wisp is pretty good against his physical mons, and Haze is just nice for the setup. And then finally we have Magneton, which obviously is there to mostly trap the Scizor, but it's also a decent secondary check to Sylveon, which I think is starting to look like a problem. And also Draco Spam is also looking like an issue. If Mawile takes too much damage, or if I catch a Mystical Fire, that would be a problem. So I decided to bring this as insurance. T-Waving the Latias would be really, really nice. And yeah, from there, HP Fire, obviously good for Scizor. The only thing that really concerns me is the Manectric, but even then, like, it's super frail, so it doesn't want to switch in on a Flash Cannon. And then I can just work around it from there. Probably switch in Mew or Cofag on Overheat, stuff like that. So let's get right into the game, eh? I don't remember what the hotkey is to get to this. So I think it's the apps button, right? Is it the apps button? Yeah, it is. There you go. So yeah, my opponent elected to bring his Rotom Wash, Lando T, Mega Scizor, Kecleon, Latias, and a Sylveon. So yeah, I expected pretty much 5 out of these 6. Kecleon was pretty interchangeable. I figured he'd bring like an SD Rocks, Landorus, and then tap in, pop in a Scarf Manectric in that slot where the Kecleon is. But the fact that he brought the Kecleon makes me think it's either a Assault Vest or that it has rocks, and that might be Scarf Landorus or Offensive Lando with like Double Dance. So I gotta be really wary of that. Hey, just making sure everything's good. Alright, so let's hop right into the game. I'm gonna elect to lead with Obstagoon because I don't expect Sylveon to lead off, and it's good against pretty much everything else. So yeah, let's hop right into it. My opponent is going to elect to lead with his Lando, and like I said, I'm going to lead with Obstagoon. Here I'm just going to Parting Shot out, fully expecting a Superpower. If it was Scarf Superpower, then that would have been bad, but at least I would get some information, get my Tornadus in, and then chip the Rotom potentially, and Hurricane that, or go into Cofagrigus and get up a layer of T-Spikes, which are looking pretty nice. Well, actually not as nice as I thought they'd be, but it could still be really good for the Sylveon, and then Kecleon would be less annoying. So decided to Parting Shot out. Turns out he's not Scarf, and he's going to go for the Earthquake, which is pretty nice. I'm going to bring in my Tornadus, fully expecting his Superpower. So Hurricane's going to come off. It's going to miss the incoming Rotom, which kind of sucks. Being able to gauge the damage, see what his spread is, it's pretty nice. But this U-turn damage shows me that he's actually relatively Spadef, probably. It shows that he's at least max HP, but it shows that he doesn't have very much Phys-Def investment from memory, I think. So here I'm going to go into my Mew, because this is pretty much the only good switch-in I have. As Evolt switches into his Kecleon. So I was pretty confused by this, because I expected Assault Vest, but since he brought it in, I figure maybe he's expecting me to be an offensive Mew, because I brought that most of the season. But I go for the Wisp, miss, unfortunately, as he throws off a Toxic, which is pretty smart because he dodges a Synchronize, but it's also pretty not super smart because this Psyshock is a roll, Unfortunately, I'm gonna not get the roll, which kind of sucks, but, you know, that's what it is, I guess. I'm gonna go into my Obstagoon expecting a Shadow Sneak from this thing, because I figured that would be what would... or a Sucker Punch, even. And then I could get a free turn with my Obstagoon because nothing wants to switch in on a Facade, like I said, except for Scizor, which I Fire Punch for. So, he goes into his Lottie. I live pretty much any form of Draco from Lottie unless it's Specs or, like, Life Orb. And if it's Life Orb or Soul Dew, I guess, is the roll in my favor pretty much heavily. And otherwise, I'm fine here just clicking Facade or Parting Shot. I don't remember which I clicked because he's going to click Draco. That pretty much confirms to me that he's Specs, because there's no way you're just going to raw click Draco there unless you're confident it's going to kill. Because if you get the roll, if you get a bad roll, your Lottie dies, unless he's Colbur Berry. But I had Facade, which I think still one-shot this thing if he was offensive, so... yeah, I'm going to die to the Draco. Actually, I don't think it did. I think it still did heavy damage, though, so... even if he isn't, he goes for Mystical Fire. I mean, it's at -2, so I'm not too worried about it. He does go Lando as I get on my rocks. That pretty much forces me out, and I'm just going to go into my Mew because I don't really have a super big need for it at this point because it's way too chipped to be useful. He's going to U-turn out, which is pretty smart on his part, and he's going to pick up a kill with his Latias. Like I said, I'm just going to elect to sack Mew because it's pretty worthless at a quarter HP. I'm going to go into Torn. It's pretty obvious the Rotom's going to come in, so I'm just going to U-turn out, get some good chip. And now, after one more rock switch in, and after it takes its lefties, it's going to come in at 52, go back up to 58, so a +2 Hurricane from Shark Beak Torn is going to pretty much be a guaranteed kill. Even against fully Spadef, I think, if from memory, that is a guaranteed kill. So I'm going to go into Magneton off the U-turn, because this pretty much threatens out his Rotom, because he really doesn't want to take damage on this here. Otherwise, he's up shit creek against just Torn, unless... because I don't think... he's probably not thinking that I'll have Nasty Plot, because I just revealed the U-turn. So he's going to Volt out, and I'm going to click Thunderbolt as he sacks off the Kecleon. A smart move just to see what I click in case I'm choiced. So he's going to go into Lando. I really don't want to lose my Magneton here for no reason, so I'm just going to Nocophagus as he knocks off. Pretty smart play on his part. So, pops my Colbur. Kind of sucks, but what can you do? Gonna just click Will-O-Wisp, Piercy U-turns, brings in the Sylveon, which has been preserved up to this point. So this can potentially take Hurricanes from Torn, so I need some chip damage on it. So I'm just gonna click Hex, as he actually doubles into his Lando, expecting one of my steals to come in. So I do get some nice damage off there. So I'm just gonna keep spamming Hex here, because there's really no reason for me not to. If he goes into... I really don't expect Scizor to come in, because it's not going to be able to kill me with knockoff from here, even if he's Adamant Max Attack. I don't expect Rotom to come in because he can't really afford to get more chip on it. I don't expect Lottie to come in because it's going to take some damage. So he just goes back into his Sylveon, which is really nice for me because now I can Hex and get a relatively free switch into one of my steals, and I do choose to go into Magneton here as he throws a Wish Up in the air. So here, I make a really bad play and I click Flash Cannon. It's pretty obvious he wasn't going to stay in. He was going to pass this into either his Rotom or his Latias. So Flash Cannon was not the play. What I probably should have done was just clicked T-Wave, because even if he passed it into the Rotom, I still have a few avenues to chip down the Rotom relatively easily. Like, it's not killing me with a Hydro Pump from here. I could definitely just click Thunderbolt against that on the next turn, do a bunch of damage to it, and go from there, etc., etc. But he goes into Latias, and like I said, I'm going to click Flash Cannon. Going to get a crit, but it's going to get healed off immediately, and some change. So it's just like he came in on one thing of rocks. I also thought if he went Latias, I'd actually live a Mystical Fire, but I didn't actually calc it, so it may have been a roll. I have no fucking clue, but I'm going to die. And I'm just going to go to my Torn, get up a Nasty Plot, because I figured this is as good of a chance as any as the Rotom comes back in, and he does not expect me to have Plot, I'm assuming. Which is why he went into Rotom, so I'm just going to click Hurricane, and he's going to die because I'm back into Sharp Beak. So he goes into Scizor. Questionably, he doesn't Mega or click Bullet Punch, so I pretty much just kill that for free. Here, now, this is kind of a risky turn. I'm just going to go straight for a Hurricane to try and kill this. I do die to Specs Draco from here, but I still have my full health Mawile in the back. He doesn't have a Play Rough switch in. Lando does not want to come in on that, from 58%. Even after lefties, it's going to be at what 60? Wait, 64, 52, yeah, 58%. So play rough will probably knock that thing out. He's going to have to go back into Latias, and then from there it's pretty iffy. I could sucker punch. I could do a bunch of things. I figure it's likely he clicks Mystical Fire because that might put me, if I miss my Hurricane, that'll put me at -1, and that'll definitely help out a Sylveon. But yeah, I'm gonna just click it, and if I hit it, I just pretty much sweep from here, and I do hit the Hurricane and knock out the Latias, which is really nice. So the Lando's gonna come in, gonna get the Intimidate. He's in range of Heat Wave guaranteed, so I'm just gonna click that. He's gonna die, and finally he elects to go into Sylveon and throw a Wish up as I dodge a Hurricane. Here, he pretty much has to click Protect because he kind of has to. Either way, I can take a Hyper Voice, so just getting up a Nasty Plot is pretty risk-free. So it's gonna, if I can land this, it's gonna die. If not, I get another chance on the next turn. Thankfully I do. I don't have to sit there and risk stuff. If I miss another one, he could crit me with Hyper Voice, I have to go into Mawile, click Play Rough, go from there. But yeah, I do clean up the rest of his team. By the rest of his team, I mean 5 Mons with Tornadus, which is pretty nice. The spawn is definitely really, really good this gen, and I'm glad they let me get Mew and Tornadus T and Mega Mawile. So yeah, that's week 7. Thankfully bounced back from my horrid performance against Queen last week. Yeah, there you go. Week 8, I go up against Sickbid and the Wisconsin Whiscash, so I'll see you all then. Later, Dink. Hello, welcome to my week 8 game for XPDLA. What I didn't know in the past was that I was going to be combining this with my week 7 battle. So those are going to be 2 separate files and shit. I forgot music. Give me one moment here. Alright, we back. Okay. So, my opponent going into this week is Sickbid, coach of the Wisconsin Whiscash. I played him once before in Season 2. Yeah, and we played, he axed me a bit, but ended up winning that game. It was pretty close, fun, well drawn out, well fought game from both sides. This season he's got a fairly similar team to the one he had before when we played, which I thought was pretty interesting. So, going into it, it's pretty scary. He's got the Dragapult, Volcanion, Rabombi, Porygon 2, Mesprit, Sableye, Mega Gallade, Celesteela, Landorus, Avalugg, and Stunfisk. So he's got quite a few threats there. Obviously Dragapult plus Celesteela plus Mega Gallade's pretty gross. Those 3 are relatively difficult to deal with. Dragapult's especially annoying to my team, because it outruns everything, and a few of my offensive threats are relatively Ghost Weak, so Mega Gallade's always its terrifying mon to deal with. Rabombi, if it gets up webs, pretty annoying. Celesteela's defensively aids. That combined with Stunfisk, which I fully expect to potentially check Torn, both to come. Mesprit's a good rocker for this game, so he's got a lot of options for this matchup, so I gotta play accordingly. So first up, we have a shitty Mew set. This is fucked up because I put Fire Punch with a Bold Nature. That was a complete accident. Gotta be completely honest with you. I meant to change it to Impish because it was Flamethrower at first, but I changed it to Fire Punch because I didn't want to deal with Quiver Dance or Bombi. I just forgot to change the nature. Anyway, we got Roost Fowl, play Fire Punch, and Taunt. Taunt is to help me deal with a potential Cosmic Powering Celesteela. You gotta keep in mind this is the interim DLC thing in between Isle of Armor, Crown Tundra, so we were using a DLC dock, and it listed Cosmic Power Celesteela as being a thing. Finger's not properly in that glove. So yeah, it was pretty annoying. So having Taunt to deal with that, plus like Leech Seed and Toxic and stuff from Celesteela was pretty good. So I felt like bringing Mew this week was pretty nice. It also checks Gallade, can take a hit from Dragapult, foul play that. Can do damage to other things, and it can stop P2 from teleporting, recovering, and doing other annoying shit. So I felt like this set was pretty good. Next we have a Taunt, Hurricane, T-Wave, not T-Wave, Heat Wave, Torn. Heat Wave is pretty good at chipping down Stunfisk. Again, Taunt's good for Celesteela as well as Gallade with SD. Dragon Dance, Dragapult, or even Substitute. It can stop it from wisping a few members of my team. It's good for setup on Landorus. It's good for Avalug going for Recover. It's good for Stunfisk going for Stealth Rock or Thunderwave or Toxic. It's good for Mesprit. It's good for a lot of stuff. So, the switch-ins to Heatwave or to Hurricane are not super great. Outside of Celesteela and Stunfisk. Stunfisk, like I said, can't really recover outside of leftovers. So I figured just having Heatwave there to hit Celesteela was good enough. Got a ton of bulk on this. This is one of my more favorite Torn sets, just bulky support. I miss having Z moves on it, but heavy duty boots are it's just stupid. Next we have Kofag. This thing's just fully physically defensive. It's got 28 speed in there for Stunfisk. Helps me outrun that. We got Toxic on there pretty much for his defensive core. Mostly for P2, if I can knock off the Violate and poison that. This thing isn't complete bait for it. I can poison the Volcanion. If he's not subset, if he's like Specs and then he's locked Steam Eruption, I can take one of those, poison it, or Pain Split off the damage. I can Shadow Ball down the Gallade. The Rocky Helmet's there actually for this to be an interim check to Celesteela, so if he tries to Heavy Slam my Tornadus, I can switch in, U-turn out, do like 2% to hit. Heavy Slam, get some decent damage on my Kofag, but I'm not going to take too much, because I'm fully Fizz-Def, obviously, and I'm a Kofagrigus. Rocky Helmet's going to hit the Celesteela, and then if he tries to Leech Seed me, I can very freely knock off its leftovers, let him chip me down a little bit, and Pain Split off some damage. So that's pretty nice. And then, yeah, Toxic's there pretty much, again, like I said, for his defensive core, and Pain Split helps me recover. It's pretty good on this week. Next, we have an SD Mega Mawile. Show me the checks. Show me them. We've got, what is that? There is a wood chip in my shirt. Holy fuck, my life is a mess. His checks are Celesteela and Stunfisk and Volcanion. Two of those are weak to Electric. And yeah, Stunfisk switches in on Iron Head, but like, if I get to +2, I get some chip on it with Vaporeon, which I'm bringing this week. Or if I get some Rocky Helmet chip, if he's got, I don't know, high horsepower, which I'm pretty sure is a contact move, I don't fucking know. If I can chip it down with Toxic on Cough, if I can get some damage on it with Mew, with Foul Play or Fire Punch, I get a couple Heat Waves off, it's suddenly not a decent check. It can potentially paralyze me, sure, but at +2, if I'm getting rid of that, that makes life a lot easier for Torn. It means I can freely U-turn out without fearing a static para. So that is pretty much a win in my book. Next up, we have an offensive Vaporeon. I think this speed is for no speed Mesprit, which also covers max speed Avalug. Yeah, no speed Mesprit's faster than no speed Volcanion, so just 3 attacks Roar. HP Electric's there for the Volcanion, Scald Shadow Ball hits everything else in his team. Roar is there for setup on Celesteela and potentially P2, which is also kind of annoying for this. I decided to run Expert Belt over Mystic Water or Life Orb because the damage against stuff like Celesteela with Shadow Ball, or Gallade with Shadow Ball, Stunfisk with Scald, and Volcanion with HP Electric, and Shadow Ball on Dragapult, all too much to pass up. I decided to just put E-Belt on there. So yeah, offensive Vaporeon, very underrated set. Then we have a Stealth Rock Chople Memo. This is my safety net against Dragon Dance Dragapults. Autotomize Celesteela if I get a good chip on that with say Torn or Mew. This thing kind of rips through his team too. He doesn't have good switch-ins to it. Like Mesprit's okay, but if I knock that thing off, it's no longer a check because it's losing its recovery, and if he doesn't have like Energy Ball on it, Mamoswine just destroys it. He doesn't have anything that wants to switch to an Icicle Crash outside of his Water type, which is a Volcanion. And I'm not running Earthquake because I don't really think Volcanion's super likely, but also I don't think you're going to keep a Volcanion on a Mamoswine no matter what, unless you're Shuckleberry, in which case. But yeah, I don't really expect Volcanion to show up this week, so gonna go right into the match here. Alright, so my opponent elected to bring a set of mons I sort of expected to see, being the Ribombee, Stunfisk, Gallade, that's a Celesteela, a Dragapult, and a Mesprit, so it's like 6 mons I figured could come. I figured P2 was also likely, I figured Lando was also likely, although not as likely, just simply due to the fact that, just give me one moment here. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, due to the fact that I have Ice Shard on Mamoswine, Sucker Punch on Mawile, so an offensive Lando isn't that great. Scarf is okay, because it gets coverage for a lot of my offensive mons, and it's also a decent stopgap for Mawile, but I can see why he didn't elect to bring that. Otherwise, you know, this is just sort of a group of mons I expected to see. I figured Stun Fisk, and then the big three were pretty much coming, and then the last two are, like, it could have been really pretty much anything on his team, to be honest. Even Avalog had a merit, because that thing can check Mamoswine pretty much perfectly. So, yeah, I'm gonna elect to lead with Mamo here, because obviously it's my rocker, and he doesn't have a good switch in for Icicle Crash, because look at this team, look at Mamoswine. Let's get right into the game. That is exactly what I'm going to lead with, as he leads off with his Stun Fisk, so he's pretty much forced out immediately. I'm just going to go for my rocks, because it's a Stun Fisk against a Mamo. I'm going to go for Knockoff, because I want to chip down this Mesprit, potentially pop a Cobra Berry for Mawile later on. As he sets up his rocks, fair trade. I'm just going to go for Icicle Crash, and then I'm going to miss, because this game is good. He's going to click Ice Beam on me, not sure why. So he clearly doesn't have a grass move for me. So here, obviously, Icicle Crash is perfectly clickable in this situation. Nothing really wants to switch in, emphasized by the fact that I am doing 39% to the Celesteela. This is really nice. I can get it down to 16. If he goes for Leech Seed, that's fine. I can just switch in Mycophagus on a probable Heavy Slam, Iron Head, anything he really wants to do. Get that Rocky Helmet chip, go for the knockoff, get rid of his leftovers. If my move's connected. So I'm going to miss another Icicle Crash, and he's going to Leech Seed me. So that's really fucking shitty. I pretty much have to go into Kofag here, because I'm expecting a Heavy Slam as he rips out the Cosmic Power, which is fun. So I'm going to just get rid of his lefties. I feel like just getting rid of those is really nice for me here at this point. So he's going to keep setting up Cosmic Powers. I'm just going to go for Shadow Ball, try and drop a Spadef. And I'm going to try and get some chip off with Pain Split here, as he shows the Energy Ball, which is a pretty interesting bring. I suppose that's really reliable against Mamoswine that also hits Vaporeon and something else. So yeah, he's just going to pop off another one. I'm going to go for the Pain Split here, chip him down by 40, and keep this relatively healthy so I can check them at the Gallade later on. As I bring in my Torn, goes for the Cosmic Power. I'm going to taunt him, stop him from Leech Seeding me. I'm gonna get more Cosmic Powers so I can beat this thing 1v1. Even if he has Heavy Slam, it doesn't do too much because I'm a max HP Tornadus. I'm going to miss yet another attack here. What the hell? This is a really messy vid, but you know, this one take. Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go for Heat Wave. I'm gonna miss another attack on this Stun Fisk. That would have been valuable information. I would have been able to see what the fuck Stun Fisk this is. If this is Spadef. Obviously, it pretty much is because he brought it in on me hard, but again, it would have been nice information. It would have been nice to get Chip. You know, a lot of things would have been good, but I'm going to go straight into Mew because I really don't have anything to switch into this. He goes for Scald. It would be nice if he got the burn so I don't get Discharge, Parrot, or Thunder Waved. That's not going to happen as he discharges. And he full parries, or and he parries me, so that's really nice. I get full Parrot as I try to foul play this thing down. So I'm going to try and Roost as he brings in his Dragapult here. And of course the game's not going to let me do that. I'm going to get full Parrot twice in a row. So he's going to just set up a Substitute. So I pretty much have to spam foul play on this thing. I can't let it set up. There's really not too much I'm afraid of from this thing because I can live most hits from it. A Shadow Ball isn't going to kill me because he's obviously lefties. So he's going to go for Dragon Darts. It's not going to kill me. I'm going to go for foul play because he's physical. That's going to easily take him out from the range of health he's at. Nice. Here he's going to go into Rabombi. This is perfectly fine with me. I can definitely trade Sticky Webs for the potential kill on this. Obviously, because I'm bold, it's a roll. But if I were Impish, this was definitely kill. I think this is a roll, and I think it's like a 50-50 roll because I'm bold. So I'm just going to go for it here as he gets up a Sticky Web, and I'm going to get full parried again. So that's really nice. He's going to Moonblast, take out my Mew. So Torn has to come in here and pretty much click Hurricane because I'm pretty much fucked at this point. I'm going to click Heat Wave, and like I said, the chip on Stunfisk would have been nice because it would have been down 15%, it would have taken rocks. I'm going to net a burn here, which is going to cancel out his leftovers. At least I get a little bit of luck going my way within the first 22 turns of this game. So I'm going to Heat Wave, get the burn off, get 15% off of this Stunfisk, and it's going to do quite a bit of damage. It's going to start to rack up because obviously he doesn't have any recovery outside of rest. So I'm just going to go into my Mycophagus here, sack this thing off to 2 discharges. So he's going to go for that. And I try and Pain Split up here if he wants to overpredict, but he goes for Scald. if he wanted to switch something in for some reason, so that's fine. I'm going to die there, bring in my Vaporeon, and pretty much nothing wants to switch into a Scald at this point. He's going to go ahead and stay in. I'm going to Scald him down. He's going to go for the Discharge. Thank fucking God he doesn't para this too. So something's going to have to come in and eat a Scald here as he goes into the Mesprit. It's going to be just in range of Scald, plus this burn I'm going to net, which is going to kill this thing, which is very nice for me there. So he's going to go into Steela. I'm pretty much just going to click Roar. I don't want him to start Cosmic Powering. And I drag in the Stunfisk, which is definitely really good for me because I can just knock this thing out with a Scald from here. Again, nothing wants to switch in on this Raw. Yeah, I'm going to knock out the Stunfisk, which is perfectly okay. So I'm going to go into Steela. Now I'm going to go into Tornadus. I'm fully expecting an Energy Ball, just in case I go for Roar again. So he gets a Spadef drop, which is also really cool. But yeah, this thing's in range of Heat Wave because I knocked off its lefties, so that's good. Nothing really wants to switch into Heat Wave because Gallade dies to a Hurricane after Rocks plus some Chip. So he's going to go into this thing, and I figure there's nothing he can really do at this point as he pulls out the Tailwind. And that is terrifying. So yeah, the Gallade's going to come in, and I pretty much have to make a pretty hard decision. I could try going into Mawile, intimidating this thing before it Megas, but if it's Steadfast, that blocks Intimidate, I do believe. Yeah, I think so. So I pretty much just have to go for Hurricane Chip, as it's pretty sure he's either going to SD or go for Stone Edge. If he's Adamant, it has a chance to kill me, but if he's Jolly, I definitely live. So I go for the Hurricane Chip, and thank fuck I land my attack. He goes down to 8%. I'm going to just sack off my Vaporeon here, because if it gets down to a point where anything really happens, like if he has, I don't know, but just in case, I want to keep my Torn in the back to revenge kill this. Vaporeon's not doing anything for me. I have my 2 priority users in the back. I'm going to go into the one that's fully reliable, being my Mamo, and I'm going to click Ice Shard, and I'm going to net a nice 3-0 victory in spite of all of the hacks this game. Thank God I managed to pull that one out. That was a very, very Pokemon-ish game. So, yeah, thank you for watching. I'm doing pretty well, bouncing back from my 500 start, and I'm going into week 9, 6-3, trying to fight for a secure playoff spot. So we can get right into week 9, which is the long boy. That is the long game that I've been dreading commentating over, but it's got to get done at some point. I committed to this, and now I have to lie in the bed I've made. So I'll see you all in the next video. Later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Wrong button. Fuck me.